Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about DCKO Harley Quinn vs. Zatanna issue 1 by Leah Williams, Mirka Andolfo and Romulo Fajardo Jr. Round 5 of DCKO kicks off this issue with Zatanna told of the one-on-one fight she will be participating in. She finds herself in a strange building filled with magical artifacts, knowing this arena was meant to reflect her, but nothing is as it seems. She heads off into the darkness as elsewhere, Harley Quinn smashes her way through the glass display cabinets in the building, knowing thanks to the League, they are being made to save the universe yet again. But it's a good thing she hits hard, since she's got to work out frustrations she feels. Harley finds Zatanna, who is relieved to see her, thinking that they are going to be partners in this battle. Harley answers her by smashing her in the throat with the butt of her hammer. So this feels kind of a little weird of a setup, since I don't think Zatanna would just completely drop her guard like this upon seeing Harley Quinn. Like, she knows that they are in a fight to the death and was literally just told the rules, a one-on-one fight, and the first person she sees is another person, one other person. So you would think that, oh, that's probably who I'm fighting. So it feels super out of character for her to immediately try and be friends with this person and trying to help them. I guess you can say that she is trying to go the Superman route and trying to sort of not play by the Heart of Apocalypse's rules and try to get through this without resorting to killing or violence. But that wasn't set up in the initial pages. Harley doesn't think it's fair that she is up against one of the world's strongest magic users, hoping the hit gave Zatanna a fractured larynx, since now she won't be able to talk backwards and cast spells. Unable to speak as Zatanna takes off into the maze of display cabinets and cases, and Harley slowly gives chase, dragging her hammer along noisily on the ground, as she wonders when was the last time Zatanna sparred with anyone. This little bit here feels like old school villain Harley, and it's a little scary. She's just slowly pursuing the injured Zatanna, taunting her, trying to psych her out a little bit. It's a neat little bit that I kind of wish we got to see a little bit more of in this issue. Zatanna realizes the clicking of her heels is going to give her away, so she ditches the shoes as Harley continues to look for her, telling her not to be afraid, since if she wins and becomes the cosmic god the heart says they can be, she'll bring Zatanna back to life, although she'll have to be Harley's court jester if she did. Harley becomes frustrated at Zatanna's evasion, finally catching up with her and barely missing her with the hammer. Before Zatanna can try and speak a spell, Harley socks her in the gut with the hammer, winding her. I do like that Williams is writing Harley not with the usual plot armor that she usually has when she is in an event or in a tie-in book, where, she can't lose, she always can win just from like a bullshit reason or something. It's plot armor basically. But here there's like some, character reasonings behind what she is doing. And I like that she's kind of tapping into Harley's former life as a psychologist and like trying to psych Zatanna out by saying all these things and slowly following her and just trying to catch the magician off guard. Then there's as well, she's deliberately attacking Zatanna in a way that prevents her from using her spells and talking backwards, since if you take that away from Zatanna, she is more or less just like a normal person, and that is something that's kind of evening the playing field there for Harley. Harley climbs onto a cabinet and jumps off, driving the handle of the hammer into Zatanna, killing her and winning round 1. Harley gets a taste of the Heart of Apocalypse's power, finding it makes her feel powerful, almost like a mall cop or something. Harley is allowed to choose a new uniform, and man, I love the costume changes we get here, as artist Mirka Andolfo looks to be having a lot of fun with the anime influences in both Harley and Zatanna's costuming, and they are really just so colorful and over the top and just really wonderful to look at. Harley goes through the multiversal wardrobe, knowing that she's dealt with the multiverse before, but nothing with as high a stakes as this, which is beginning to remind her of her own mortality. As she chooses a form, Harley wonders if the guys in the fight get to choose costumes as well, and Zatanna knows that they do, revealing that she is still in her standard Zatanna form, as the alternate forms are meant to be a boon, something that she knows will enhance the stakes of the fight and doesn't want to do. This is what I've been saying across all of these All Fight Month books, and only a few heroes are being shown picking up on this, which is the form changes are the heart trying to keep things spicy and interesting, hoping to entice the heroes and villains to become the most powerful in hopes the power corrupts them, like we saw with Captain Atom. There's also kind of that meta thing as well, where it's like, you post a page of this on the internet of like, Zatanna taking on a new multiversal form, or, Superman becoming Superman 1 million or something like that. It gets people interested, and that's exactly what this is. It's keeping things interesting, and I like that there's a little bit of a meta commentary going on there as well. Round 2 begins and the women are taken into a strange, colourful video game world that Harley knows is from her mind since she's been thinking about retro video games a lot recently. Zatanna doesn't wait around, throwing punches at Harley, who decides to again fight dirty, grabbing one of Zatanna's earrings with her teeth and ripping it out. Harley asks if the woman is tired of being a better person, but Zatanna heals her ripped up ear instead of answering, proving Harley's point, since she has no chance against someone who can just heal herself and just be who she is. Grabbing her hammer, Harley wants to see how many bones she'll have to break before she loses this round as well. Like with the other fights, this one's gimmick is a lot of fun as it's the opposite of what the other books have been doing, where they have stopped themselves from becoming just normal fist fights, two heroes just hitting each other over and over again. They have like some sort of gimmick where one hero will let the other one win, or if you're, or Aquaman just completely obliterate Hawkman. But here, this one, the gimmick is normal fist fights, the one-on-one fist fight. That's the gimmick of this book, and I think that's really damn cool because you've got this hero who can do magic and do all sorts of stuff, and if they just had her do that, it would be like another Aquaman versus Hawkman situation where she would just blow through Harley like nothing. So, bringing it back down to just normal fist fights is really smart. Zatanna dodges Harley's hammer, called a coward for trying to run, but Zatanna grabs one of the sharp metal flowers from the arena, stabbing Harley in the thigh with it. The wound barely phases Harley, who pulls the sharp flower from her thigh and stabs Zatanna with it, reminding her of the old saying she knows, a thigh for a thigh. Zatanna doesn't let it slow her down though, beating Harley around the arena before delivering one final blow, causing her to win round 2. Like Harley before her, Zatanna gets a taste of the heart's power, but unlike Harley, who loved the feeling, Zatanna can feel how corrosive it is, equating it to tar flooding her veins. The heart demands that Zatanna choose another form for the fight, but she refuses to rely on a handicap to beat Harley. Speaking of Harley, she begins choosing her next look and decides to make things more interesting. She chooses one of Zatanna's costumes, which gives her access to Zatanna's magic. The final round begins and they are teleported to a theatre stage. However, Zatanna can't see anything but a blank void, thinking that since they are tied, the final match is just trying to be an equalizer and everything in it is equal. Harley, though, asks why she can't see the zoetrope that is spinning around them, but Zatanna can't, getting more frustrated as she thinks that Harley is just trying to gaslight her and further psych her out. Having a giant zoetrope as a fight arena is so cool. So if you don't know what a zoetrope is, it's this round object, usually a toy, that has an image painted on the inside of it. So when you spin it and you look through a little hole, it looks like the image is actually moving. I'll put an example up here on the screen right now, but it's a very old pre-film device and it's such a cool thing to do, especially because it's kind of related to old-timey magicians, magic, people thought it was like magic that this image would move and sort of stuff, so it's a really cool idea for an arena. Harley lets Zatanna get close before unleashing her new magical powers, speaking backwards to conjure up curse change and magical slaps. Harley continues rage-baiting Zatanna, wondering if she's sick and tired of always being in her father and other men's shadows. Zatanna, enraged, asks what Harley's going to do next, pull a white rabbit out of a hat? But Harley thinks that while she's close, she's going to pull something else out, pulling out a giant magical gun from a top hat, shooting at Zatanna as she asks how it feels to be on the heels of legacy, but never actually catch up to it. Zatanna's eyes turn black as she tells Harley to shut up, exploding with pent-up magical energy. Harley is happy about it, knowing that she finally has brought out the world's strongest magical user. It's real neat how this was Harley's game all along. She knew she would never win against a magical user, so she instead tried to just rage bait Zatanna into doing what she needed to do in the fight and accept that she will need to kill in order to get on in this fight and beat Darkseid. Makes great use of Harley as an actual character and not just a pop culture fan favorite character that would rely on just like fan popularity to win. In her rage, Zatanna stabs Harley and seeing the woman dying breaks her from her anger, telling her that she didn't want it to be like this since it could be a permanent death. Harley knows that she was never going to make it since it wasn't a fair fight for her. I do find it hilarious that Harley, who a few times in this issue was doing fourth wall breaks, which is something I don't know Harley could do. I don't know whether that's something new or not, or something they've just written here, but I've never really noticed her breaking the fourth wall, but she can do it here. And I assume that because she could do that, she'd be very well aware of like her popularity as like a character who kind of wins everything, or like because she's popular. So I'm surprised that she wasn't aware of it and didn't say anything here. And maybe that's just her being humble to encourage Zatanna or something, not wanting to say that because it might, miff Zatanna a little bit. But I thought it was kind of hilarious that she never once mentioned that she knew she was popular. Harley knows that Zatanna has a real chance to win this. She just needed the nudge to make her more morally grey. She wants Zatanna to weaponize her ruthlessness and use it to win. Harley dies in Zatanna's arms, causing the anger and sadness to come roaring back in Zatanna, who knows that this is the first time she has actually killed someone, and she murdered her friend all for conquest and power. So someone can correct me if I am wrong, but Zatanna and Harley, are they actually friends? I can't think of a time where they were, on the same team or grouped together or anything, so it's strange that Zatanna would call her a close friend. You could frame it in a way that she sees Harley as, a fellow hero, a member of the Justice League, and in that way you get the same effect, but calling them good friends feels like a bit of a stretch. But again, if someone wants to correct me, go for it, let me know if I am wrong. Zatanna knows that she entered the tournament to gain power to save the universe, but she doesn't care about that now since the cost is too high for her to pay. So now she's going to fight to undo the violence, and she is going to win this and bring Harley Quinn back to life. The heart announces Zatanna as the winner as the hero finds her hands covered in her friend's blood, deciding that if Harley wanted her to access her rage, she won't waste that chance, demanding to know who is next. Meanwhile, in the Watchtower, Gorilla Grodd slams the Darkseid-possessed Booster Gold around the station, telling him that taking a weak form like Booster Gold was the wrong choice. Booster smashes the gorilla in the face, screaming that he will not let the gorilla get the upper hand. Before Booster can attack him properly though, Grodd uses his psychic abilities, knowing that he might match his strength, but Booster is vulnerable to his psychic influence. He invades the hero's mind, demanding that Darkseid release Booster from his control. Now this is a neat little continuation of the Booster side of the story, and it makes me think that maybe Darkseid is going to transfer his consciousness over into Gorilla Grodd's body. Grodd is now accessing his mind, gives him that in to get into Grodd's mind, and Grodd does have access to the Omega energy as well, thanks to the events of We Are Yesterday, so I could see him possessing Grodd, someone who is definitely a bit stronger, and then maybe going with the original plan and killing Booster Gold and freeing that temporal and Omega energy to help him remake Earth as Apocalypse. We have to be coming up on a crucial juncture in this plot at some point, something big is going to happen with this plot where it takes a turn, and it has to be happening, in the next issue of the All Fight Round or in the next issue of DCKO, but either way, I'm looking forward to what the writers have in store for Booster and Darkseid. Harley Quinn vs. Zatanna issue 1 was a fun inverse of the previous one-on-one fights, where instead of big gimmicks, it turned a simple fist fight into the big gimmick. I liked the rage-baiting Harley Quinn that Leah Williams was writing here, although the setup of Harley and Zatanna being close friends feels really out of nowhere and is kind of being used as a way to create manufactured drama between these two characters who, to my knowledge, have never really interacted beyond, the friendly hello every now and then. Still, I had a lot of fun with this fight, and I liked some of the swerves it took between the rounds. I am going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.